Hi, David Maley here, and today I'm going to show you how to do Sankey graphs, or Sankey diagrams as they're called. And so if you look right here on this screen in the viewer, you'll see this is a Sankey diagram. What it does, it shows how customers' segmentation changes over time. So you'll see this first band here is March, this is April, this is May, and this is June. And so if you follow these, we've got best, good, average, and low. I've got it broken into 4 different types of customers, right? Best, good, average, and low, and it's the same across each. And the difference is you can see the pattern how from March to April, a lot of the best ones went down to average and good. And then from April to May, if we look at those, some of them went back up. Some of them went down further. What's neat about it is it shows you how the customers change month over month. So when you see sales growing from a campaign or from a sales advertisement or whatever it is you're doing, some marketing you're doing, you on the surface, okay, sales went up. But that doesn't mean in every grouping of your customers. So if you go and take some segmentation like we do k-means segmentation, customer segmentation in some of my videos, and I show you how to do that, whether it be in R or Alteryx or a couple different ways to do that. But regardless, what you do is you go and take that into clusters, and you'll have like here 4 clusters of customers: your best, your worst, and your in-betweens. And you want to see, are you growing in your top customers, your most valuable customers, the customers that spend the most money with you? Or are you growing? Is that advertising that you just did helping with the lower end? Or is it taking people from the lower end and moving them up to the average and then to good? So you want to see how advertising and campaigns and things like that work over time. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a chart that does this, but to do that there's a lot of work behind it. So you'll see here, this is the packages that you have to bring in, okay? Right here we have all of those. Okay, so we need to bring in obviously XLSX, which is how you read from Excel. And the package for network D3 gives us our Sankey network. And then I also have read Excel. I don't remember why I put them both in there, but read XLX is a part of XLSX. If that doesn't work for you, maybe that's why you might need that one. Doesn't matter. So these are what we're bringing in. If you don't have one, use these to bring it in. Install packages just like this. And this is the Excel sheets that I'm bringing. So I've got 2 Excel sheets. If you look at this, let's bring this over a little bit so you can see it better. Let's move this over right about there. Okay. So you'll see here I have in this, let's move it over a little bit more. I have 2 lines, right? And I'm bringing them over, so I've got a sheet that's named links and a sheet that's named nodes, all in the same Excel worksheet called Sankey 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that with you, and I want to show you something, okay? So if I go here, here's Sankey 1. I have nodes and I have links, and this is where it's important. So when you're doing a Sankey, remember you're going to have your nodes, right? So your nodes are this, and your nodes are going to be broken up into how many groups of dates, right? So I actually have a group right here, a group right here, a group right here, and a group right here. I got 4 groups in 16 lines. See that? The name column is just this. It's all in one row. So I can make this go out like this if you want. You'll see it better that way. So I have best, good, average, and low with the March dates. Then I have best, good, average, and low with the April dates, and best, good, average, and low with May, and best, good, average, and low with June. And if you notice on the left, though, I don't have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have it 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through 16. Now this could have 5 or 6 different nodes per date, which is fine. Remember, I want to have the way you saw it in that chart was I had 4 different dates, right? I had per month, so I had March, April, May, and June. So you'll see this is the first part, then the second, third, fourth. Now if I go to links, so remember these numbers 1 through 16. If I go to links, what you're going to see here is the first grouping of 0 through 4 is right here as a source, right? So it's from to. So what that means is from the source to the target. So when you saw that first row there, it was these 0 through 4, the first 4, best, good, average, and low, pointing to the next dates, best, date, average, and low. So you'll see, you won't see 0 through these in this group, okay? You only see, or you'll see the next group, which is 5 through, or 4 through 11, or whatever it is, okay? So you'll see that come through here, and then the value is over here. These are the values. So you have source, target, and value. So like for instance, this one here, 0 is automatically the first one. So that's what might confuse some people sometimes. When you look at this, you see 1 through 4, but this is actually 0 through 3. That's the way it sees it. And this one you would think it's 5 through 8, but it's not really that. It's actually 4. Okay, it starts at 4 and goes through 7. So when you go back here, so you would say, oh, it's got 4 in there. That's over here. No, it's different. So we're doing 0 through 3. 4 is the next next row. So let's just go up to this. So if you look at this, 0, 1, 2, and 3 is the first 4, right? Okay. Next is your target. So your target starts after it. So you got 0 through 3. So your target starts at 4 and then goes to 7. It doesn't go to 8. I might have miscorrectly stated that earlier, but when I was doing this before I show you this, but so it's 0 through 3, and then you got 4 through 7 comes next. And if you notice, look how I do 0. 0 goes through 4, 5, 6, and 7. It goes through all the next node. So you remember you had March, April, so it's going through April. And then it goes again for the next node, right? So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So each one has to go through each of the next dates iterations there. Then after that, you'll notice I go to that one comes down here. I no longer am doing this row because I'm not going backwards, and I'm going from 4 to, right? So it would be 4 through 7, right? So we go 4 to 7, goes through this range, and you'll notice in here, what will be next would be, go back here, and you can see for yourself. So this, now we're doing this row, right? And it's going against the 9 through 12s. So go back here, and you'll see that it's going to go through those again. So 8, 9, 10, or actually hold on here. It's not 9 through 12, my mistake. It's 8 through 11. So remember, it's -1 for each one. It's kind of confusing a little bit until you're actually doing it. So sometimes what helps is if I take this, right? If we copy this, let's just copy that. This is what I like to do when I'm building these. And I'll actually put it off here because I'm going to delete it and I'll get rid of it. But if I paste that right here, okay, now I have that to look at when I'm doing this, okay? I know that I have to go in the end through 16. That's how it works. So now keep in mind, watch, the end ones, okay, it ends at 11. See that? And then it goes to the next row there. But the next row, remember the last row is what? Go back here. The last row, we've got 16, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now look at this. It stops at 11 here on the right. Remember, from to. If I put those here, that means I'm adding another row of dates, which I don't need. I don't need 5. I just wanted 4 for this example. So if I go back to our graph, right? Let's go back here to our studio. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I had put more dates on that from the 4 for these guys, then I would have more going off this one. I'd have to have another row there. I just want the 4. So see, it stops here. That's why it stops in the 11th one, and it starts at the 0. Okay? So let's go back again. Go back to Excel here. Here we go. And so that's how it works out. So basically what you do is you group it. So we would group by, see this? We got 1 through 4 here, but that actually becomes 0, 1, 2, and 3. See that? And this one becomes 4, 5, 6, and 7. See that? And then you go on and on. These would be your nodes. So that would be like nodes if you wanted to. Okay, to help you figure that out. And then you could actually do another one would be, so it just goes down 8, 9. See how they're all one off from that? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and see this becomes 15. That's the end. So you'll see at the end of this, I have 15 here on the right, which is what? It's the target. So remember, it goes from left to right. We're not going to have that on this side. We end at 11. And the reason being is that's the last date. That's the last column for a date, which is, remember, March, April, May, June. So that would be June. I'm not doing July. If I was doing July, I would bring these back down here and I'd do 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I'd go on to the next one here. Okay? The value is just your value you get from, whatever it is for that month. It could be sales, it could be transactions, it could be anything. It could be number of customers come in door. What you're trying to do in the end is you want to have a graph that shows basically this, and you want to show source, so this is the from node, target, which is the to node, right, from 0 to 4 in this case, and then the value. So, and I want to go here, and I have my actual nodes right here. Remember, and I told you to group them, and you can put another column here if you want. It helps you to do that. Say group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. You could do that, just like we did here. Or you could have nodes, whatever you want to, whatever helps you. And then just make sure you delete this and that part there, and you want to save it like that. Okay, so it has to have a source, a target, and a value. Now the problem you have here is if you mess these up. So let's say I say I want to have a 4 that goes back to a 3. That'll draw the band going backwards, and you might even see like a loop in there. If I put 4, 4 here, or 1, 1, what would happen is at that point it would just have a circle there. It would just go back. It would be kind of, so if you see something weird look in your data, it could be as simple as that. So once you have it structured like this, then we go back. Once you have the hardest part here, just keep this in mind, is having the nodes and the links. Okay, the structure just like this. The nodes looks just like this. 2 columns. This one's numbered 1 through 16, right? Starting after, you don't include this one. That's your column. And these are your actual nodes, right? Grouped into several groups. So you'll see best several times. But to differentiate it, you always want to put the date or something next to it. So if I'm doing days, I would put like 11/15, 12/15, whatever. If I'm doing months, I do it this way. I could do weeks. I could do week numbers. I could say dash week number 14, week number 15, week number 16. I could do all that stuff. And then you want to have your links. Remember this same kind of structure as you just saw. Okay. But what you're going to have is number down starting at the second line, and you have source, target, and value. Okay. Now, some people will hard code this in their code. I like to put it into an Excel file. It depends on how much data you have, how big it is, and the size of your nodes and stuff like that. So, but this is pretty simple to do. Once you've gotten to this point, and you have to make sure you go through here and you don't confuse things. You don't go back and make this a 1. If I made that a 1, you would see a circle there, or something like that. You want to make sure that each line, if you're doing it by dates, connects with the previous line in the from field and the next line in the to field. Okay. And then I go to our studio again, and here we are. Here's our diagram to show you that it works. All I have to do, I've already brought these in right here. That's what you just looked at. And I'm using read.xlsx, and I have the command of where the URL is. And then next to it, I have the sheet name, right? One was links and one was nodes, and I'm reading the links into links 2 and the nodes into nodes 2. And then down here, all I've got is this one line, right? And you have to have this iterations equals 0 at the end. If you don't, what happens is by default, it will have them, arranged all differently. So in one line, it might have average on top. Next line, it might have good on top. Next line, it might have low on top. And you want to have it for your customers when you're doing a data science project, or for your, executives. You want to make it so it's as simplistic as possible. So what you want to do is you want to have it so that the best, good, average, and low are the same, if that's what you're using, on each one in that order. Not that the size is going to be the same, it won't be, okay? But you want to have them in the same order. So it's very simple to follow. You know that best starts at the top always, okay? And then you can pick the font family if you want, the node width, right here, this part right here. All this does is the width of each of these bars. So if I made that node width equals 20, these would be a little bit wider. I found 15 for this was pretty optimal. And the font size is just the size of the labels. You'll see right there. Okay, and then we, in this order, once you're inside the Sankey network function, is obviously links equals links to. That's what we brought in right there. It has to be in that order that I showed you. Nodes equals nodes to. Has to be in the order of that one. Okay. Source equals source. This is where it's reading. Remember the source, target, and value fields. On top of it, it's also reading the node ID field. So remember when I went to the nodes sheet and it said at the top name for that column, that's the name of the nodes. That's what it's pulling back there. You could call it something else, obviously ID, customer IDs, stores, whatever you want based on your data, and just make sure that that's the name at the top. That's the of that column when you bring it back. And then to show you that this works, I'm going to change up something here. So I'm going to change up the node width. So let's make it bigger. Let's make it 20. So you'll see these get wider. These guys right here. So let's do this. Just run that as is. So see, I've already run that code in here. I can see it in here, links to and nodes to. It's in there, okay? So I just hit Control and Enter. That's what I love about RStudio, and bam, there it is. And see how they got wider now? So you can see your nodes a little bit clearer if you wanted to. The patterns between are based, the size of each of these gray bars in here that are going from here to here, for instance, or here to here, are based on, remember, when you went into the, when we looked at that sheet, and we looked at the sheet that had the value, from, to, and value. So it's going from a 0 to a 1, or I mean not to a 1, 0 to a 4, so this would be the first one before here. This is 0, 1, 2, 3. This is 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you can follow it. 0 to 4 goes there. 0 to 3 goes, or 0 to 4, 5, 6. So this would be 0 to 6. And down here, if there's anything that went down here, yeah, there's that little bar right there. That goes 0 to 7. Okay. If I went to the next one, now I'm going, remember, these are not 0s through 4. This is what? 0 through 3, 4 through 7. So this one right here will be a 7 to a 8 to a 9. See that right there? That's 9. That's 8, 9, 10, 11. So you got like a 7 to 11 would be this row right here. We've got a 4, 5, 6 to a, I think that's, what is it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 would be that one. So that's how this works. And it shows customers, your data science customers, your requesters, your marketing department, your executives that want to see, hey, with this brand that we own, or with this bread that we're selling at a store, or this frisbees that we're selling, or these clothes that we're selling at a store like Belk's or something like that. They want to see, okay, we just did a marketing campaign. What value did this do for us? Did it increase, not just did it increase sales, maybe it did increase sales, but it doesn't have to. Maybe that wasn't your target. Maybe what you wanted to see was, okay, we had a problem, we lost some average customers. Did we gain them? Well, look, if you went from here to here, you actually gained from here to here in average. If you're looking to gain good, look at that. You gained a lot of good, but then maybe after the campaign ended, you lost some of those, and you went back to about almost the same as what you were before. But look what happened. You had a very good overall growth of the average customers. You also had a little bit of growth in the best customers. So that's what this shows you. It shows you not just whether or not you made more sales, which you did. If you look at this, you had more sales in the end than you did the beginning. But where was the gains? So the gains, clearly the biggest gains in this, if you look at from the beginning to the end, would be right here. You gained a lot more average customers. And how did you gain those? They came from your low customers. So actually this was a big boost campaign, because what it did was it increased, it took away from some of the lows, but what it did was it made them a better producing customer. So that's what you want to see. And that's what a lot of executives want to see. They want to see the in-betweens, what really happened inside of this campaign, and how did it really affect their customers. And if the campaign was in this area, what did it do afterwards? That's where they want to see for incrementals. pre and post and during campaign data to see, oh, hey, not only did it go up during the campaign, but look, we gained average customers. We ended up in the end with more best customers. We had a lot right here. We lost some of those that went here and here, but in the end we still end up with more best, a little bit less of good, a lot more of average, and just a little bit of loss and low. So it's an interesting way of looking at your data. Sankey diagrams are really cool. They're a little bit tough, and the reason being is it's not this code right here that's tough that you're looking at. What's the tough part is what I showed you earlier in the Excel thing. So remember, you got to have nodes. It has to look just like this. Okay, now obviously if I had more nodes, if I wanted 6 nodes, I would have to do two more iterations of this best, good. Well, no, actually, it depends. So if I'm having 6 periods, I would have two more down here. If I was having 2 more nodes per period, I would actually have to add them inside here. So I would have maybe best, and then maybe I would have breakout average into 2 parts or low into 2 parts. Maybe I have low people, low spenders that are geared more towards becoming average spenders, and maybe I have low spenders that are erratic, and maybe I have low spenders that are just, I don't know. I could break it up into 3 parts. I could do that, and that would give me those 2 extra bands. It depends. It depends on your circumstances, your data, and what you want to do with it. Regardless, you need to have a nodes section like this, and you need to have a links section like this. Okay? Just remember to delete this thing out. I just bring that over. I like to do that when I'm building the links page, because the from and to nodes can get kind of confusing. If I have this next to me with, that reminds me that, oh, that's not a 1, that's a 0 that you start off with. And when I go to the next one, that's not a 5, it's actually a 4. And that one's not a 6, it's actually a 5. Because if I don't do that, I'll end up pointing it to the one after it, and it'll totally make my diagram wrong, and I don't want to give that to users. I don't want to give them wrong information. So this is a way of helping you to remember that. So just remember that. And sometimes what I'll do is with nodes, if I'm doing a lot of them, I might next to it put another column that says, something like a group or month. I might say, in this case, because they're monthly, right? So I might say month, and I might put March here. I might, copy that down and say, okay, these are all March. Oops, that's not what I want. That would be if I wanted to go one after another. Instead, what I really want to do is copy this and then bring that down here and paste that. Oops, no, I want to paste that. But basically, let's just put March like this. And we can do this and then copy that down. There we go. And then you just do the same thing going on down. Boom, 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 boom. But you don't need to have that. Or you could put group. It's easier just to put group 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. Because it's basically what they are. And you can do this for days, weeks, months, years, whatever it is you want to do to see your customer flows back and forth between the different groups. And you can change the groups up. You can change the groups to be the nodes to be more. You could have 2 different best customers, 2 different good customers. You could have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2. You could even have 3. So you could have your group of a high best customer, a medium best customer, and a low best customer, and that would give you more movement. You might see something in there you like. In this case, I did this because we did a customer segmentation recently where we had 4 groups of customers, or we found that the primary cluster size was 4. So this went right with that data, that you have 4 clusters: low, average, good, and best, and then that carries it through. And this was a campaign in here, and then you can see the pre and post, well, not pre and post, but you can see the campaign and then see how it did overall. Thanks again for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Sankey diagrams are really cool and interesting. People love them. Requesters absolutely adore them because it shows true movement. So if I were to go, let me just do this again so you can see it blown up a little bit bigger. When you shrink, that's the other thing with a Sankey diagram. If you shrink it, when you expand it back out, it won't expand itself, so you have to rerun it. Okay, so here you can see it again. They're just so cool and neat to show and see, you know, hey, these customers didn't all just stay here. They went up here and over here and over there and over here, and they grew in this area and this, and it's not, you're not just telling people, oh, hey, the customers grew in the average section. Well, when they say, well, how? Here it is. They came from low, but they also came from average, and they also came from good and best, and they all ended up coming here. And same, you know, you can see how it worked and how the campaign worked and what it did, and you'll see amazing things here. Thanks again for watching. I hope you found this helpful and interesting. I really like Sankey diagrams. They're really cool, and they should give you a way of looking at data, just a different way, and gives you more behind the data. So thanks again for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Just remember to make the nodes and links pages like I showed, or sheets like I showed you. You can also hard code them in, or just bring in, so like if you already have the data, I usually do this a lot. So if I already have data, I ran a k-mean segmentation, which you can go and look at my videos. I have those out there. It'll show you how to get the clusters, proper clusters for any data. So you go get your clusters and you have them appended, so you have a clusters column. Then you bring that in here and you just bring it as a data frame. So I would just, you know, if I already had data, I would just say, you know, like we could bring in the links and we could bring it into, you know, bring it into a vector. So you just bring it in. I could already have a, I don't know, data frame 1, and I could be bringing in data from DF2 or whatever it is, and you could bring it in here. Just make sure you have the links and the nodes sections. Okay, that's all you got to remember from that. And thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Please try them out. It's going to take a little practice to get through the nodes and links. It just is. It's just the way it is. But give it a try, and you can make some really cool graphs with it. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe and like. Leave me some comments. And I've got more great videos coming, so make sure you subscribe and like, because that way you can watch all the latest stuff I have, and tick that little bell there so that you get notified when I put stuff like this out. Thanks again, and have a great day.